One thing we noticed that there are no direct flights between Calgary, Edmonton to Asia. Do you think that will change in the future?
Well,
folks travel
it's
back
difficult.
And forth, have to go to Vancouver.
Yeah,
and it takes up a lot of time.
It's difficult to talk about. How do you encourage the type of traffic that will encourage the airlines to make those stops? Airline hubs are always a difficult thing to talk about in terms of economic development. When you talk about a hub for an airline and you look at Europe, there's very few hubs, but there's a very large number of huge economic centers. So do you need a hub? Probably not. The thing that will develop the type of traffic you're talking about, direct flights to Shanghai or direct flights to Hong Kong, is the traffic.
Yep.
So the more business that we create between those two jurisdictions, the more market-driven it will be that you will develop that flight path. We in Alberta are very much on a market-driven basis. Our government prides itself in being business-friendly and having an open and transparent regulatory environment. We believe that will attract more business. And I think on the same vein, if you have a larger increase in the number of people that want to do it,
yeah,
the airlines will be forced to do it by way of market force.
Yeah, you should try flying to Vancouver in Asia all the time.
I know,
packed. It's always packed.
Yes.
So do you not think that other parts of Asia now, too much in China, like Japan, Korea, India, these are giant economies
yes,
too, and very fast growing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing anything there?
Actually, we just met with the ambassador from Thailand, as well as Thailand, because they're very interested in us establishing a presence there. But I've also traveled to Korea. We've also been to, of course, Japan, and we've been to Hong Kong. Well, Hong Kong is kind of related. Taiwan we've been into. Personally, I've been in Malaysia. We've been in Indonesia. We've been in a number of the Asian countries. There's no doubt that there is a huge amount of opportunity for Alberta in the entire Asian area. We're going to continue to cultivate as much of those types of relationships as we possibly can. We will continue, and there will be other ministerial visits to many of those jurisdictions.
And not just yourself, right?
No. Many of my colleagues. I wouldn't doubt that if you were to look at our cabinet today, almost all of them have been or will be going to Asia, in various different places in Asia. We are very keen to make sure that our presence is known in Asia.
How critical is that? When I look at the country, it's so huge. It's like one Alberta can just put in a few of some of the Asian countries, and you still got space left. But in many ways, I look at it. This is it's a very self-contained place. You can actually live off the land quite well. Why would this relationship with Asia figure so important for you right now?
Well, if all we wanted to do was to live off the land as maybe our forefathers had done, that may be true. But the reality of it is that we produce way more than we would ever be able to consume. And that is true of almost any industry you look at, whether it's agriculture, whether it's the energy, whether it's in the environmental sciences. In our research capacity, we are so much larger than what 3.5 million people you would assume would have. It's true, we have the asset of a large tracts of available land yet to be developed. We have large tracts of land that are being held, quite frankly, because we think it's the environmentally friendly thing to do. We have huge park systems for the enjoyment of not only Albertans but international guests and for our future generations. So we're going to maintain all of those things, but in order for Alberta to thrive and to be the type of economy that we want it to be, it has to have export opportunities. And when you look at export opportunities, the obvious place to look is Asia.
Yeah, but Europe is also growing.
Europe is still growing.
Quite often we overlook Europe.
We have some very interesting ties to many countries in Europe because of our heritage.
Have you traveled to Europe recently as a minister?
Well, we were in Europe as part of the World Trade Organization discussions. And,
not as a provincial minister?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I represented the province there as part of our WTO delegation. And while doing that, we took the time to also make some representation for Alberta. We also have an Alberta office in Munich and an Alberta office in London. So dependent upon the type of economic activity you're talking about, depends upon the amount of resources that we can put towards it. As an example, currently we can't export livestock into the European marketplace. So there's not much sense spending a lot of time on that.
Protectionism. Right?
Protectionism.
Yep.
Currently, the biodiesel marketplace, though, looks extremely interesting to us because biodiesel is a huge consumable in Europe. We have probably the largest acreage of canola in Canada, which makes us the largest producers of canola in the world, probably. And the science that we are using to develop new forms of biofuels are of great interest to the Europeans as well. So it's not that we're centered and focused and fixed on one marketplace, but as you said yourself, Asia is our number 2 trading partner today, and Japan is number 3. So there are certain things we can do in Europe. There are certain things we can do in the United States, and there are certain things we can do in Asia.
So you're in the very sweet spot, yeah? You could